So we are going to be working on a pair of dress pants today. And most of what we're doing is review, but the only main difference is that the dress pant is actually two closed shapes, which is closer to what the actual drafting and construction of a pant would be, right? Because you would not have one piece of fabric continuing on both sides. You would have the left-hand side and the right-hand side would be two different pieces of fabric. Same idea. We're going to do a closed shape using our shapes palette to create the waistband with the rectangle tool. And we're just going to extend it over center front. The back will be just one closed shape, again, using the rectangle tool. So I'm going to grab my pen tool, get that handy, and I will be using some flipping today, but I will not be joining them because I will actually be joining the shape before I flip it, as you will see. Okay, so here we go with our dress pant. So I'm going to place my croquis. I'm going to click and drag to size it and fit to my page nicely. I'm actually going to lock that layer so I don't accidentally grab it. Okay, so to draw my pant, pretty straightforward. I'm going to start center front. I'm going to click to the hip line. I'm going to do a nice little bit of a click and curve as I draw today because it's quite easy. And I'm also going to do a tiny little bit of a pleat there, like a nice pressed edge as you would have on a pair of dress pants. And then I'm going to head back to crotch line, and then I'm going to close the shape. So that is the left-hand side of my pant, very straightforward. Then I'm going to flip it, and I'm not joining anything. These are two separate shapes, and they will stay two separate shapes. Because that is how the pants would be constructed. One thing I want to do here today is I want to add a dart to my pants because these are a women's fitted dress pant and they're not the most glamorous, but they are a big seller. I have a friend that was a production manager for one of the big clothing manufacturers, and they did a lot of custom and private label work. And there was a women's ankle length little dress pant that was their #1 seller for decades because it was really simple, it was really flattering, and it went into the office very easily. So that is what we are working on today. And for that, I'm going to need a little bit of a dart at the waistline. So I'm going to turn off my fill, and you will see on the croquis, you have your shaping lines where you would put in the darts. So I'm going to draw in one dart. And I want to actually keep my fill off because for this one, it's not a big deal, but sometimes you'll have a shape. This is literally just a line, and it will have a fill on it and it'll show up on your garment, which you don't want. But for the moment, this is fine anyway. That's looking good. I'm going to put my fill back on. There we go. And I'm going to click and flip. And I suppose I could turn off the fill on the right-hand side, but I'm actually just going to use the markers on the croquis to place that for the right-hand side dart on these pants. Okay, looking pretty good. I'm going to now put in my waistband. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use my rectangle tool. And I think I'm going to try that way. And the front of your pant, you want to go, this would be the center front, which is fine. But for your pants with a placket and an overhang, which we're doing for this pant, because this would have a closure inside or a button that would attach it. So we're actually going to have that shape extend past center front. Okay, I'm going to Control C, Control F. I now have two of them. I'm going to move this one to that side, and then I'm going to arrange send to back. Okay, so that is looking good. It's what the front of your pant should be looking like. And I'm going to Command or Control 0 to set this in the middle of the page again, looking good. Okay, so when you are drawing your black and white technicals ready to go, where there is a front, there is going to be a back. So I'm going to copy my front, Control C. This time I'm going to Control V it. And before I do anything else, I'm actually going to select this and I'm going to do a group. So right click with the mouse to group that pant. And then I'm going to move it out of the way so I can work on the back. So that one's not grouped. Usually, because of the shaping of bodies, the back darts are going to be higher. They're usually a deeper dart, but not as long. It's to accommodate the shaping of a body. So I'm going to Command or Control R, going to get my ruler guides. I'm going to pull a ruler guide down, and I'm now going to take that approximately to where I want that dart to be. And then I'm going to white arrow that up. Same thing on this side. Now at this point, you're going to have to decide what kind of pockets you want to do. On most menswear, formal dress pants, you'll have the pocket that looks like that. And sometimes there's only one. You are certainly welcome to do that. Just make sure, get rid of my guide, that it goes right up to the seam line, which is fine. Then, so you could have one, because sometimes there's only one pocket on one side, which I guess is for a wallet. I don't know. I don't really use them on my dress pants, but you can have one. You can also have two, and you can just use your reflect tool to create a second pocket and just glide that into place. Easy. Okay, now I just one last thing before this is done, and that is my back waistband. Now I do not have two pieces or an overhang, so I'm just going to white arrow, select, hold shift to select just those 2 points, and I'm going to move those over to finish off the back waistband of my pants. And that's looking pretty good. All right, and then I'm going to once again group it. Okay, so usually with your technicals, I'm now going to get rid of my croquis layer, and I'm going to move, arrange, bring to front to make sure that my front is in front of my back. I'm going to put one slightly in front of the other. I'm going to enlarge them so they comfortably fit into my page, looking good. And then I'm going to pull my designer information, Control C from the original document, Control F, place that in beautifully. And then one thing I do want to add to this one is a style number, which I did not have on my original. So always add a style number, because there is no way that you would have a production sample going out in the world without a style number attached to it, right? So always, everything should have a separate style number, and the other naming information on your document. Okay. So that is a very typical and traditional women's formal dress pant, front and back.